this recording, and I'll just talk about the whole thought process behind my personal brand and whatnot,
Yeah,
and kind of
for
like
sure.
going all the way back.
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate you. Yeah, so the reason I chose video, so I'll answer your question about the first video, but the whole reason behind the first video, I mean, the whole reason why I did video in the first place, why I decided to do YouTube, even though, right, you got to bear in mind, I've always been naturally a very introverted person, like super reserved, hated being on, hated being on camera, very soft spoken, didn't say a lot when I was like, when it was my chance to speak. I was that type of guy. I don't know if you can relate, especially in like high school days. Just very introverted, reserved. But the whole reason why I decided to, despite all that, I decided to go with YouTube. And this is kind of what ended up helping me make my first video was a couple of things. So if I break it down here, screen. The whole reason why I chose YouTube was a couple different reasons. So and then I'll go into more like other platforms too. But the reason my thought process behind YouTube was video is the quickest way to build a connection with your audience, whether that be someone that's cold, that's warm, or hot, because they get to see how you speak, your body language, how you act, how you carry yourself, your vocabulary. They pick up all of that via video. It's the closest thing to them being like right in front of you, having in real life convo. Whereas with Twitter, they can only, unless you're doing videos as well, but Twitter's mostly like a writing based platform, right? So they can only kind of get to know you off of how you write. With Instagram, again, there's also video, but it's mostly like visual. So they can only really go off of how you look and maybe body language. Like it's not like YouTube where you can build a connection the quickest way, like the quickest time with a viewer. So that's the reason why YouTube. Second thing is I wanted to get better. This is like a self-development thing, is I wanted to improve my speaking skills. So I never used to speak like this. I never used to speak like this. Almost all my videos, if not all of them, for the longest time now, have been one take with the minor bits of editing, but most of it has been one take. But I didn't come out the womb speaking like that or having that skill. It took hundreds and hundreds, even it'll soon be thousands of reps, but it took hundreds and hundreds of reps. But I knew from the beginning that I was gonna, even if I was trash at YouTube, like my first video, let me scroll all the way back. Let's bring it back. I cringe when I watch it sometimes, but I'm at the same time I'm grinning because this is where it all started. So look at me, man. This is my bedroom back home in UK, the red wall. But watch that in a second. Speaking skills. Like I didn't want to be this reserved guy, shy guy who couldn't speak on camera anymore and was just like very soft spoken. No, I wanted to actually be able to articulate myself better. So it was kind of like a self development thing too. I wanted to improve my speaking skills. I guess another thing with YouTube is obviously it's one of the most popular social media platforms, and if you play the game right with it, then it can be a massive, massive asset, which it is proven to be. It's more of a now there's like YouTube Shorts, and then you can also have certain videos go viral. But for the most part, I saw it as it's more of a long-term play. So this outreach, so if you want to think about it, like the outreach, the direct client acquisition, or I don't sound like guru-ish, but you doing the outreach and just and doing that, that's more like short-term, like quick results. This is more of like a long-term play, unless you pop off or go viral, of course. Yeah, so long-term play. And I think the last reason why YouTube was just because shoot, I was gonna say something, but I forgot. If it comes back to me, I'll say it. But that's pretty much why I chose YouTube. So let me just go to my first video. to show you how trash this video was. This took me. So you see how it's only nine. It's only it's only like a coming up to 10-minute video. This took me an hour and a half of propping the camera up, filming it, stuttering, refilming it, stuttering again, finally finishing, coming up with topics. Well, actually, at the start, I had to script it a bit and come up with topics to talk about, and then editing it and whatnot. That whole ordeal took like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So you got to start somewhere, right?
I'm going to go over the best business models for beginner entrepreneurs. Basically,
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Oh my God, get ready to cringe. And this is where is my British accent. This is where it's like at its strongest. It's so strong.
Student list. I've got 4 business models. I'm just going to go through them. If you're a student entrepreneur, you probably don't have a lot of time. You don't have a lot of income. Another thing I think to throw in there is transferable skills. So what I mean by that is, let's say you wanted to do something different in the future, you change your mind, you don't like the business anymore. Well, what you've learned are the skills that can go into different industries.
Hey, but look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this. Guess what the first one is? Personal branding. See, so we knew from
Let's get
early.
started.
We knew from early.
All right, first one, personal branding. You literally just start uploading content that you're passionate about. For example, fitness. Start uploading fitness content, you in the gym, working out, doing workout
So you
videos.
get the point. That was me 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Yeah. Well, but as cringy as it might be to me, well, that was the start. So I guess this leads on to your question then about advice for your first video. Um, Honestly, it's gonna sound so guru-ish, but because I could give you all the tech, I'll give you the technicals, and I'll give you like the piece of advice that's actually gonna help. It's just okay, so the technicals with YouTube. Oh yeah, I remember the okay, just before we get on to that, I remember the last reason why YouTube is because that's how I found my one of my previous mentors. His name's Trey Cochran. I don't know if you heard of him. He's like a big coaching guy. He coaches other coaches. So that was my previous mentor for a while. And the way I found him was through YouTube. So that's what inspired me to start it. And he also had his a method to grow on YouTube. So I wanted to replicate that. On YouTube and let's see. Cool. So that's a couple of reasons why. But the YouTube technicals is obviously I'd say there's 3 types of content. I want to keep it as simple as possible. I don't want anyone watching this to overthink it. I'd say we're gonna be growing our YouTube as a setter or a business owner or someone in this space. Three types of 3 types of content you could do. You could do a value video where you're just giving tips or advice or just giving source away. Story video where you're telling, like a story, for example. Story just helps you become more relatable. I have a couple. There's something I want to work on more is telling more of my story. I have a couple on YouTube about like me leaving home, me living in Thailand, and whatever. How I got started into this, my past businesses. So that helps with you being more relatable and actually adding a face and a story to your brand instead of just it being you. And then what was the last one? Value, story, and shoot, forgot now. I wrote it down somewhere. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out if it comes back to me. So value and story. Hold on. Okay. I have it. Just give me 1 second. So maybe let me just pause my screen for a second. I put it on the course. I'd say, hmm, yes, these are kind of like the draft notes that I put in. So focusing on 1 to 2 platforms max, posting consistently, that's a big one. This ain't gonna work if you're not being consistent with it. That's a given. Documenting the journey and not being worried about feeling unqualified enough or what friends and family would think. So this is what, yeah, this was pretty big for me in the beginning because I knew even at an early stage word would get around and my friends, my family would find out about it, probably take the piss or make fun of me. But ultimately I had a vision and I knew where I wanted to take this, so I didn't care about what they said, but I had to do it anyway. Um, Unqualified enough, so that's imposter syndrome. So you might still be new in this journey. So there might be times, and there's still times here and there for me where I don't feel like I'm qualified enough to be talking about the things I'm talking. But you got to remember that, you know, there's people that are just trying to find that next, that are just under you in the journey, who are just behind you in the journey, and people who are ahead of you in the journey. So with that in mind, it's not just because it's not just people who are ahead of you in the journey. It's there's a lot of people who have never even started a coaching business, have never even started multiple businesses, have never even signed clients before. They don't even know what appointment setting is, right? So there's always someone you can teach. You can always just give the person behind you the first step. There's like qualifications are subjective, right? Because if I compare myself to some bigger guys in the space, then I can probably say I'm not qualified comparison to them. But if I look at other people who are behind me on the journey or who are just trying to learn appointment setting or trying to get placed or whatnot, I have the blueprint. Therefore, I'm more qualified than them. So it's all subjective, man. I used to struggle with imposter syndrome, but once you realize that there's just people who want to get to your step, who want that first step, and they want to get to where you are at that moment, then just eradicates all limiting beliefs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like teaching people sort of like two steps behind.
Yeah, who are exactly. Yeah, you put it perfectly. Just who are like 1, 2 steps behind you. You just show them those 1 to 2 steps. And if you really don't know what to post, document the journey. So it's what Gary Vee talks about. But what that actually means, we can put documentation slash results. That's I'd say that's the third genre. So documentation slash results. So results could just be like in a setting example. Let me show you an example. This guy, Scout. So I used to work alongside him. His personal brand on Twitter has been blowing up. And his kind of posts are mostly like documentation and results posts. I used to work with him. He's a killer. But all he used to do that helped him grow was like documentation. So he'd just talk about how, I'm in London, sitting at 4.4K for the month. Need to keep pushing to hit the 7K mark. What's his plan to start? He's just telling him literally what his plan is. That I cut out.
Yeah, for a second.
Yeah. Did you get the part when I was like, this is Scout?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this guy's blown up on Twitter over the past like 12 months. And I used to work with him too, so he's a G. I can vouch for him. But one of the things that helped him blow up was just posting consistently. But all he was doing was mostly, he was just documenting his journey. Scout is the definition, and Scout, if you're watching this, shout out to you. But Scout is the definition of how to document your journey. Like, even still, he does these kind of posts. He literally just says what he's doing at that very moment. And like any life updates. Landed in London, sitting at 4.4K on the month. Once they hit 7K, I also plan on start pushing Instagram vids, short vids, no edits. Let's work. Another one. Uh, this one blew up. 1.4K likes. 2023 earnings. Jan 1.1K, Feb 1.1K, yada yada yada. because this was the time when, and his story's crazy. Like he used to work a normal construction job in Ireland. Didn't know what appointment setting was, didn't know what Wi-Fi money was. Then he stumbled upon it in June. That's when he kind of started, low month, then bounced back, started making his first few bucks online. And yeah, he's just this is the definition of documenting your journey. And you don't have to do income numbers. You can just talk about like what you're doing on that daily basis, how many DMs have you sent, what are you up to, what's your goals, what's your plans, etc. That's how you document your journey, bro. Because Gary Vee, no disrespect, but he always says document the journey, but he doesn't say how. He never
Hmm.
shows how. What do you mean by that? That's what I mean by that. So you can post value, story, documentation slash results. As well as that, um, it's just reps. Well, so we'll do just tips in general, not just the technical. So YouTube advice, reps, reps, reps. As I said, I never used to be a super extroverted, no filter kind of guy, but I had to make up for it through repetition, through volume. So on top of the videos that you see, I've probably got like 200 plus videos up by now. On top of that, were countless other videos for example, like course content or outtakes and whatnot. So I had to just out rep my doubt.
Hmm. That's a good one.
Yeah, you got to out rep your doubts and fears. And granted, all right, the first video, it might not be the best because again, it's your first video, right? But just don't place so much expectation. Be kind of have my same attitude towards my first video. I was like, oh, okay, this might be bad, but I know moving forward, if I just keep going at this and be consistent, this is stuff I'm going to look back on. And it's going to be a good measuring stick of progress because once, like, give it 6 to 12 months of consistency, like my YouTube's going to be popping off. And it doesn't even have to be popping off. It can just, here's the thing with business YouTube. Unlike entertainment YouTube, you don't need to focus on views or virality. You just have to focus on keep the main thing, which is attracting more opportunities. So, for example, if you're running a coaching business YouTube channel, you want to book in more calls. That's what you want to do. So your YouTube has to be optimized to book in more calls. That's what my YouTube is trying to be optimized to now, to booking more calls. If you're a setter, if for a setter, for example, let's say Scout, his example would be to his intention with it should be to kind of use it as an asset, obviously, but I'd say to attract more opportunities and use it as a tool to be able to connect with more higher level business owners. I'd say as a setter, that's what he should be doing. The views and virality is great, but there's a lot of viral people, there's a lot of popular people out there, celebrities who still are they're still living in their mom's basement or they're still broke because they don't know how to monetize properly and they're focusing too much on attention and not monetizing off of that, right?
Hmm.
Making calls or attracting opportunities. Um, Another thing, I mean, I think the best way to go about this, bro, is like what sort of questions do you have about your first video or what sort of things do you feel like you need the most help with? And then I can directly answer it instead of just giving like general advice.
Yeah.
Like,
I
what's
think I
going
just
through your
have to
mind?
start and figure it out also.
Say that again.
Yeah, I think for me, just I gotta just gotta start and figure it out as I go.
Yes, 100%. I'm glad you have that mindset, bro. Because there's like so many people, and this is me too. So many people who have that perfectionist mindset. They want everything to be perfect. They want the stars to be aligned before starting.
Hmm.
That's not how it works. The stars will align actually if you start, if you actually do the thing, then you align it yourself. Because then along the way, you're gonna figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what actually pops off, what doesn't. That's what I had to do. So figure out as you go. Reps as well. Let's say super important. With YouTube, um, yeah, there's also the stuff like the technicals, like good thumbnail, good titles, descriptions. You could also rank for SEO. So there is this tool called TubeBuddy or vidIQ stuff. So TubeBuddy, and it basically helps you with YouTube SEO. So for example, if I type in appointment setting, yeah, let's talk about this because I think it would help in the beginning. So let me type in SEO because this is what my mentor showed me. So with YouTube, I kind of disobey it now, the rule, but what he used to tell me was instead of trying to come up with content ideas and then seeing if people want it, you want to do the other way around, where you find a content idea that already works and then making a video out of that, or a topic or a search term, whatever you want to call it, and filling that. It's like free real estate. It's like free plots of land. You're trying to find an area, and if there's a plot of land that's not been occupied yet, you take that plot of land in a good area instead of trying to see if it build a house first, but in a shitty area, right? So what I mean by that is if I type in appointment setting, like a search term, for example, search volume, this is how many people are searching about it, and competition is like how competitive is it? And then it all comes together. Again, I don't know how much of an impact this makes, but I think it did make an impact for me in the beginning. It factors all these things together, and then it comes up with some sort of score. Now, 98 for me would be good,
Yeah.
but for you, for different people, it might not be as good because I think it takes into account your channel and your growth and etc. What kind of videos you're making. But for me, it's saying excellent. So if I make a video with and like this is what I was doing, man. Like I come up fourth now on SEO of my playlist. So that's how much work it took to get there. But if I were to make a video now with appointment setting in the title and appointment setting as one of the keywords, I would rank. There's a good chance I'd rank pretty high for that search term. Let's type in another one. Let's type in, and then there's some related ones you can go through as well, and it comes up with here. So if we type in appointment setting script, how's this keyword? So this is good because now I have a clear-cut example. So search volume is poor, so not many people are searching for it. Competition is good, so it's not too competitive. It's actually leaning towards green, which is like there's not as much competition. But overall, it's not that great of a search term to make a video out of, as not enough people are searching for it. So you could make a video out of this, but it probably wouldn't be worth your time. So yeah, whatever video topics you had in mind, what one action step you can do is you can come up with a search term and search it up on YouTube, see how it's doing, and then come up with some other related ones. So for example, let's try how to start appointment setting. It's just like, and I think TubeBuddy's only like $7 per month. It's a big asset. Okay, that's good. That's actually good. That's actually good. So search volume fair, competition excellence. There's hardly any competition for this sort of keyword. Therefore, I could actually make a video out of this and rank, have a good chance of ranking. Does this all make sense?
Yeah. Useful tool.
Yeah. As with thumbnails, just quickly, I'm probably the wrong person to ask about thumbnails because I really don't care about thumbnails. I probably should, but big font. Just go on Canva. You can make your own. Um, Attention grabbing. People can kind of tell what the video is going to be about, and it's intriguing. But apart from that, I'm the wrong person to ask about thumbnails. Good title. So again, you can go off your keyword. Again, you want to cause intrigue. You want people to wonder, okay, what's this going to be about? Then you also want it to be useful. Otherwise, like you want people thinking that it's worth clicking on. You know? But I'd say more important than all these technicals, bro, in your stage, just start and figure it out as you go. Just throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Because it might feel like a waste of time. It might feel like you're just banging your head against the wall, but trust me, this is gonna be so useful for you if you decide to stick with it because you're gonna get so much reference experience and seeing what works, what doesn't. And then from that point on, you can kind of hone in on certain niche or certain topics or certain style, like I have. Because I know my style nowadays is just very clear cut, no filter, very little editing, just straight to the point, no BS advice about appointment setting. And also telling my throwing my story in as well, my experience. I know with other people, like Luke Alexander or these other people, it's very, it's the traditional like how to make money online, very attention grabbing, lots of editing, very professional, right? But that's just not me. It could be me in the future, maybe, but I'm never gonna stray away from what I know works best for me, which is being authentic and just sharing what I know with no filter. Yeah, that's the YouTube, bro. That's the YouTube side. Oh yeah, and don't forget call to actions too. So whatever you want the call to action to be, again, it's whatever your main thing is, whatever your intention is. So for me, I want people to book in a call for this mentor for the one-on-one program, or check out the e-guide if they're not at that stage yet of investing in themselves and working, or even just checking out my Instagram, funneling them in. So whatever I want the intention to be, I'll just make a CTA out of it. So like, comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel. And if you want to check out more behind the scene content or you want to speak to me personally, link below for my Instagram. Go check it out. So yeah, don't forget the call to action. Because you don't want to keep them on YouTube forever. You want to link them to your stuff. Sound good?
Yeah.
Any questions?
Mm, no, I think yeah, like I said, like you just gotta start and figure out. But those are good. Um,
Let me give you some tools as well, if it helps. So tools for filming, literally my iPhone. I have a professional camera. What else? Oh yeah, if I'm gonna do for those whiteboard breakdowns or presentations, I do Loom and Miro. Miro is the actual whiteboard that I'm using right now. Loom is the way to record it. For editing, I'm so old school. I just use iMovie. But you can use whatever you have. You can use. I used to in the beginning because when I was in college, I used to study like graphic communication, just kind of like graphic design, and they had the what's the name? Adobe.
Premiere Pro. Yeah.
Yeah, Premiere Pro. So they had Premiere Pro, they had Photoshop, they had um Illustrator like all in house. So while that lasted, I just used Premiere Pro. But once that was finished, I just used iMovie, and it does the job for thumbnails and visuals. I just use Canva. What else? I think that's it, really, to be honest.
Mm.
But yeah, hope that helps.
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah, that helps.
Oh yeah, one more thing. I want to kind of copy paste this. Or just personal brand advice. Oops. Yeah, we'll chuck this in here too. So focus on one to two platforms max. You don't want to spread yourself too thin. So kind of decide what those three is the absolute maximum, let's say, but ideally just one or two. Just because like you're just gonna be spreading yourself too thin, and you're not gonna let the compound effect take place. For me, now I know it's Instagram and YouTube. I know you guys found me, and Zamal, one of the students, found me through Twitter. So Twitter might be a thing I could push again, but for me mainly it's just been Instagram and YouTube. And then the rest I've already you know this, like I've already talked about. But yeah.